If I could interrupt your exercise for just a moment, a couple of observations. And Heinrich, actually, if you could move a little bit, I want to get this on the tape too. Thanks. So just a couple of observations, but I won't take much of your time, and then you can go right back to your exercise. So first thing is, I've noticed that the strategy of just blurting something out and then going back and saying, okay, now what pattern was that? Did I actually follow this sequence? But without trying too hard mentally to figure it all out ahead of time, just kind of going for it, tends to be quite effective for the exercise. Any of you noticed this as well? That just kind of, okay, I'm going to make a run for it. And if you don't quite follow the sequence that was given, no big deal. The great thing about language is it's just words. After you say them, they disappear. And you can, you can always say something else. So feel free to really play flexibly with it. And after you say it, if you didn't quite get the sequence, then just say it again, matching the sequence a little better. So that's one observation. A second observation I had is that once you're familiar with and comfortable with jumping around time frames, you might also notice, are you being more instructive of go to the past, go to the present, take this resource, bring it here and there, or are you being more, you could say, subtle or conversational? And if you change a few words, you can say, instead of, so take this resource to the present, you can say, what is it like having this resource now, as an example. So that's an additional stretch that you can start to play with if you're already comfortable with changing the time frames. So go ahead and we'll have another, yes, Ron.
Question, it's not necessary, well, the question is it necessary to repeat the content?
You're not using any content.
Okay.
Yeah, just like when I demonstrated with Ron didn't give any content. And so we just used the words limitation and resource.
That's what I was getting at.
Yes.
Do you have to finish your sequence on a resource? Or can you, because I put your present resource, future limitation, present limitation. Or would it be
Okay.
better to...
So just quickly, let's talk about let me give you an example of a more difficult sequence, and I'll give you a little extra time when you go back to your exercise then. So instead of being so kind to me, what if we had a sequence something like this? We'll start with, we're going to end with limitation in the future. We'll put that 3. Okay? Then we're going to say, we'll start with limitation in the present. Then we'll go back to resource in the past. So that's about as challenging a one as I can think of. So here I'm intentionally making it difficult. So, so since you now are perceiving this as a limitation, so I'm going to add a little bit of something there to presuppose that it may not be quite as difficult as they were thinking. So since you're now perceiving this as a limitation, what resource have you had that can totally transform this area that you thought was a limitation next time it were to arise? Okay, so that would be an example. You can, with limitation in the future especially, you can be a little bit flexible. You can say also, so now having this awareness of this limitation and also knowing the vast array of resources that you have already experienced that are relevant to this situation, how might you be helpful to others that you notice in the future that have had this limitation? Something along those lines. So you can change it from you having the limitation to you notice the limitation in somebody else. Or you could change it to the context of limitation, or a variety of ways to kind of modify it a little bit to make it useful for the person. Okay, now go ahead and go for it again. Well, you had 3 more minutes for your exercise, so have fun playing around with this some more, and then we'll take a break.